So I want to thank everyone for joining us for our American Indian Alaska Native Tourism Association's Town Hall, Native Arts and the Creative Economy. Today's Town Hall will focus on the current state of arts in Native America, with examples of some of the outstanding tribal arts programs in Indian country. We will also share AIANTA's new Arts and Culture Initiative to provide technical assistance and training to artists and Native nations and communities. Our town halls were designed so that we could share information about AIANTA and our work, and also get feedback from the community about things that you'd like to see AIANTA doing, so that we can improve our programs and benefit Indian country. So my name is Gail Chihak. I'm a citizen of the Klamath Tribes and AIANTA's Tribal Relations and Outreach Manager. To start off our program, I'd like to introduce AIANTA's Chief Executive Officer, Sherry L. Rupert. Sherry has nearly 2 decades of executive level experience managing and promoting Native American tourism. Since joining AIANTA as CEO in 2019, she has spearheaded several initiatives, including the organization's new Tribal Agritourism Program and our Tribal Arts and Culture Initiative. As the CEO of the only national organization dedicated to Indigenous tourism, she is a leading voice when it comes to advocating for travel and tourism as a significant economic driver in tribal nations. She holds leadership positions on various national boards, including the Board of Directors for the U.S. Travel Association, the America 250 Hospitality and Tourism Advisory Committee, and the Office of National Marine Sanctuary Systems Business Advisory Council under the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration for the Department of Commerce. Sherry, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Gail. Thanks for that introduction. Welcome, everybody. As Gail said, my name is Sherry Rupert, and I am the CEO here at AIANTA. I'm also Paiute and Washoe from Nevada. And Gail, if you could go to the next slide, I wanted to share AIANTA's mission with you this morning. Our mission is to define, introduce, grow, and sustain American Indian, Alaska Native, and Native Hawaiian tourism that honors traditions and values. Native American arts, including visual arts, music, theater, dance, literature, and beyond, are among the most promising ways to expand tourism and the economic success of rural and urban Native communities. Historically underestimated, Native artists play a pivotal role in building economies, generating tourism assets, and simultaneously preserving cultural heritage. Native art resources are evolving nationwide, and there is a growing interest in linking arts with tourism. So again, thank you for being here this morning with us. In 2013, the First Peoples Fund published an assessment of arts as an economic engine in Native communities. The report showed that art is deeply rooted in Native communities and has the potential to be a great economic engine. As one artist from Pine Ridge stated, "Tourists help us survive. Without them, we wouldn't survive." AIANTA has launched a new initiative with the support from the National Endowment for the Arts to encourage support for Native arts in tourism by encouraging tribal programs that support local artists, local arts, and artists. Today's town hall will explore the diversity and the role the arts play in tourism and cultural and economic development.
Thank you, Sherry. In this town hall, we want to share some of the amazing arts programs in Indian country. Arts give cultural visitors to Indian country the opportunity to connect with the culture and the history in a unique way and increase the depth of understanding of tribal heritage and the appreciation of craft and knowledge of the artist. Our first presenter, unfortunately, could not make it. She contacted us right before the presentation, but Cherokee Nation in Oklahoma has made arts an integral part of their cultural tourism program, from their museums and gift shop to their successful Cherokee Art Market to their annual Cherokee National Treasures program. We wanted to highlight all of their wonderful programs and the fact that they've made the arts an important part of their economic development program. One of the programs I think that could be a model for other tribes is their 1% for the art. They've taken the model that several states have used to support their arts, and they take 1% of any new construction to be used for the arts. So to either purchase art or to incorporate art within the building of the new facility. We'd like to start with a poll question. Our first question is, does your tribe or community have an annual Native arts market or a festival where artists can sell the art? So if everybody would please take the poll.
I'm not able to answer that poll question. It won't let me select anything.
Sherry Bowman, can you help us with this?
Panelists aren't allowed to answer questions, so it's just the attendees that can answer and respond.
Thank you. So I'm going to end the poll. So it looks like 63% of our attendees do have a art market or a festival where artists can sell their work. 13% do not, and 25% aren't sure. That's a really nice indicator of support for the artists on a local community. So one of the first programs we'd like to share is the Artist Cooperative and Gallery by the Eastern Band of Cherokee. I don't see Vicki on our list yet. So she might not have attended, might not be in attendance right now, but the Qualla Arts and Crafts program is one of the oldest artist cooperatives run by a Native American tribe. They have an amazing program where artists who want to sell in the Qualla Art Gallery have to first become members of the cooperative. And in order to become a member of the cooperative, you have to demonstrate your art to the cooperative board. So that means you have to actually come and build your art in front of them so that they know that you are the person that has designed it and crafted it. And that way they can guarantee the authenticity of all of their art that they sell within their gallery. They also have a strong program with the school system, where they do classes on traditional arts actually there in the schools.
Hi, I'm Melanie Laborowicz, AIANTA's relatively new Native Arts and Culture Coordinator, and I'm excited to be here with you today. Part of AIANTA's aim is to develop more visibility for Native artists, and we will be encouraging development of tribal arts directories. A number of arts centers have developed very successful models to help people find artists in their communities. Our goal is to create tribal arts resources for empowering individual artists and studios, coordinating with state public art directories, and integrating these regional directories with nativeamerica.travel, our signature website. One example of a successful directory already in motion is the artist program at Oneida Nation in Wisconsin. We have with us today Cheryl Benton, Arts Program Supervisor of the Oneida Nation, here to talk with us about Oneida's Planting Seeds of Knowledge. They have an artist roster that can present interactive and engaging residencies, workshops, and performances. And there's so many other activities that are going on at your center. We look forward to hearing a little bit of what you've got going on there. Thank you for being here.
Did you want me to talk about this program a little more?
Please,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, so this program is funded by the Wisconsin Arts Board, which is the state arts office. And they have a grant program called the Re-Granting Program, and we've been awarded that grant for like nearly 20 years. So out of that grant, we developed the Dollars for Art program, which is one prong of how we use that grant. The second prong is the Planting Seeds of Knowledge program of, what you're looking at on the screen here. So, from the state, the state grant requires a dollar for dollar match from the tribe. So, basically this grant is 50% state funds and 50% tribal funds that we dedicate to the program every year. So with the Planting Seeds of Knowledge program, what we intend to do is to work in the public school system to try to provide some information, some accurate, authentic information about Native American arts. That's an easy subject to get into. We can't, nobody wants to hear, treaty rights or civic affairs or political affairs, which are all important. People seem to be more receptive to like a positive creative energy. So when the artists come in there, they're presenting some form of our arts. So whether it's pottery or basket making or beadwork. We have also added culture educators. That's the term that we use for someone who's not actually a working artist. So in other words, if they're presenting indigenous games, like Paul Ninham is teaching traditional Native American games like lacrosse and a couple of other, you can look at his profile and see what else he's teaching. He's very popular. A lot of teachers want to bring him in because that's a physical aspect, because it's like he's usually booked with FIAD teachers because the kids can go outside, and they can learn about lacrosse and a couple of other games that he teaches. So obviously he's also infusing his program with Native American culture and history too, There's another artist who will be new on our roster next year. Well, he's not an artist. He's going to be in the category of culture educator. His name is Paul DeMaine, and he's working mostly up in the northern regions of Wisconsin, reviving the snow state game and lacrosse and a few other things up there, up north. So we're going to be adding him to the roster. Excuse me. One of the things that we do is in order to be qualified as an artist on this roster, because they're going to be going into schools, we do an extensive background check on them. So, that they're qualified that way to be working with youth and elders. So they get through the background check through our background check department here with Oneida Nation. Then we know that, they don't have any issues, that, they're safe. They'll be would obviously also be accepted on campuses, because the school campuses don't have to do their own background check. We've done it, and we know that there's nothing real concerning in their background. So we get that done, and then what a new artist will have to do is come to a panel meeting with current Seeds artists. Hold on a second. Okay, sorry about that. That was our video doorbell. So so a new Seeds artist making their application to get on our roster, they will present their program or their curriculum to the rest of the artists who are already currently on the roster. You know, and then it's like kind of like a peer review. So it's a peer review, and there probably will be exchanges about, you know, what works, what doesn't, some guidance for the new Seeds artist. So then it's up to the current roster of artists to vote for or, you know, approve that the new Seeds artist coming on board. So once they're on board, then we put them on our website. So this person is going to be available to you in your school program to come in and do some education, either on arts or culture education. So we've had a lot of success with that program. I mean, you know, we win the grant award from Wisconsin State's Arts Board like every year. We've had this grant for 20 years. The evaluations that we get from schools are always positive. You know, they can't wait, you know, to bring them in, you know, the next school year. So, but it's a limited amount, and the grant goes real fast because as soon as schools know that the grant is available, they start applying and scheduling these artists. So right now, like, we've already depleted the fund for this school year. So, you know, I can add more to it from the tribal budget, not that much more because, you know, of course, you know, we have approved, you know, budgets, so I can't go like way overboard. But I can go over the amount. I can go over the match amount that's required. So, you know, for example, if our grant award is just, for example, 11,000 from the state arts board, we have to match that with 11,000. So then our total budget is 22,000. But if I need to, I can go over that with my budget from the arts program, which we usually end up doing. So we're going a little above the required dollar for dollar match because, you know, we'll have schools coming in a little bit later or after funds are depleted, and, you know, they have a good program, they want to bring one of the artists in, and so we'll do that. But eventually we have to put an end to that, like, and say that funds are depleted now because, you know, I can't spend like that much money out of my tribal program budget. But it is a pretty popular program, and like I said, we get a lot of positive reviews on it, and every year, or at least every other year, well, COVID really put a you know, what's the word, kind of a damper on our program. But usually we will be doing background checks on each artist every year, and then getting a new agreement signed with them every year, just to make sure that, you know, we're all on board, everyone still, you know, can pass a background check. So, but COVID, you know, put us like that in the year 2020, we didn't even do this program, you know, so because of COVID, because schools were closed and because of the social distancing issue and all of that. But we started it up again. So in 2020, we still had the grant from the year 2020, which we went ahead and administered and expended. And so, in other words, so I skipped a year. I didn't apply for that grant in 2021 because we still had the 2020 funds. So then in 2022, we spent the 2020 funds and depleted that. And then we're back on board to be applying for that grant every year. So besides this roster, this roster is tied to public education schools. We're about to develop a new artist directory that will be another one besides this one, and that one won't require a background check because, you know, we're not going to vouch for them going into schools or nursing homes or anything like that. We're just going to have a list that says here's some artists that, you know, if you're interested in talking with or inviting to your event or your conference or to your powwow or whatever. So here's a list, and we're going to start with Oneida enrolled tribal members first, because this is the Oneida website. And after we get that all situated, then we'll invite other artists from other tribes near us to, if they want to get on this directory. So the United Nations Arts Program has a dedicated budget that has been mandated by our General Tribal Council. So this is what's different with other tribes. Other tribes don't have the mandate from their at-large membership to fund an arts program, but we do. So in our in our tier of the governmental processes, the people are the top, right? General Tribal Council is the authority. And then the elected officials, who we call business committee members, but other tribes might call tribal council members, they're under the General Tribal Council. And then under our tribal elected leadership are the programs and services and everything about the organization. So when the people at large or the General Tribal Council order a mandate in a meeting, a General Tribal Council meeting, then our elected leadership have to carry out those mandates. So our General Tribal Council mandated that the business committee or the elected leadership fund an arts program annually. So and that's what we have going on here since like 1997. So that's how we're able to plan every year. That's how we have a staff. That's how we have a program budget. And that we have some certainty from year to year that, what we can do and the programs that we can carry out every year. And other tribes in our area don't have that same mechanism, or maybe, I don't know, I can't speak for all of them, but they don't have that same mechanism. So if they do start an arts program, it might not be sustainable just because they're lacking the mandate from the people at large, to order an annual fund or an annual budget for an arts program. But we have, so in our area, we have the Willet Indian Arts Board Incorporated. That's an independent community organization. And they run the Willet Indian Art Show and Market every year. They've been doing that for about, I think, 10 or 15 years. And they're independent from us. They have their own 501c3. They do a lot of fundraising and grant seeking, and their main event is that annual Woodland Indian Arts Show and Market.
Thank you so much, Cheryl.
Yeah, you're welcome. Does anyone have any questions about how we're doing this program?
I think we're going to move on to the panel, and then maybe we can take questions from all of the attendees, from all the different presenters. It's really wonderful to hear all of the different initiatives you have going on. And I think a lot of us are really curious about not only the success of the schools program. Might not seem connected to tourism, but I think it's really important to get the word out for the community that you live in, and also be an economic driver for those individual artists who are participants. And,
well, anybody can, those artists on our Seeds roster are free to, converse and contract with any other organization. So they're not only limited to the public school system, but we promote them in the public school system. But as individual independent artists, they can go ahead and make their own contracts and negotiations with other corporations or companies or organizations.
Right. And that's wonderful, empowering the artists, which actually is a perfect segue as we go into this next slide. AIANTA is moving forward to assess the needs of Native artists themselves, including financial literacy, assistance in preparation of grants, widening networks that support artists like what you have been doing in Wisconsin, developing access to markets and ongoing professional development with diverse trainings for artists and opportunities through webinars, in-person workshops, and on social media. We also will be here to encourage and assist regional cultural centers and tribal agencies to develop and promote resources for their communities. There are many successful models for artist education, and joining us today to talk a little bit about one of these programs is cultural arts specialist Chris Velarde from Santa Clara Pueblo and Hickory Apache from the Poe Cultural Center in Pojoaque, New Mexico. And welcome, Chris, and thank you so much for joining us to tell a little bit about yourself and how Poe has evolved and grown into an important center for strengthening artists' skills and talents and empowering them to sell their work as well. Chris?
Okay. Unsengi tamo. Tanjo, Yate Albini, Koati Hopa, Buenos dias, and good morning. As Melanie had mentioned to you, my name is Chris Velarde, and I come from the Hickory Apache Nation on my father's side and Santa Clara Pueblo from my mother's side. I come from a family of artists in pottery, beadwork, leather work, and now belt weaving. I've been here at the Pole Culture Center, Pole, which is a Tewa word for pathway. This organization was established way back in 1988. The idea and the purpose of the Culture Center was to ensure that a lot of our traditional arts won't be lost, crafts. Second was to promote genuine Indian art, not stuff made in Japan or hecho in Mexico. And third was to educate tourism, especially here in the Southwest. So far, we have accomplished all three of them in over the years. As you see the photo of this big round tower, that was kind of the beginning of what the Culture Center was. That was one of the first buildings that was established and put up. It was kind of like without the buildings around it, it was kind of like an eyesore. You know, people would pass by and they questioned about it. And I think that was the whole purpose, was for people to ask about it. So we kind of built onto that, and we added on to the far right, which is the administration building, the governor's office. And down below and to the left are the studios. So what the Pole Arts is, and that's what I work under, is that we ensure that a lot of Pueblo arts are continued. You know, here in New Mexico, we have 19 Pueblos, and we all have similarities in our dances, in our clothing, in our rituals and ceremonies. You know, so there's many things that are always in demand, such as moccasins. Our moccasins aren't beaded like the plain style. They're done more in a white style. We have belts. We have what they call mantas, which is the women's clothing. We have the white and we have the black. Pottery. Pottery is always in demand. We use pottery not only for serving our foods during feast day, but we also use them for ceremonial purposes. And then, of course, we have jewelry, you know, which is a more modern piece of itemware that, you know, we like to put on, you know. So when this was established, all our goal was mainly to continue these arts. You know, I took the classes way back in 1996, 97. I took the arts of micaceous pottery, which expanded my knowledge of more types of pottery. And I really enjoyed it. And I never in my life thought I would ever be a part of this program. Well, 30 years later, here I am. I'm working for the Pole Arts. But the thing that I like about it is that we have good instructors. We have very knowledgeable instructors, so that when we're teaching the arts, it's not just, okay, this is how we make a pot, or this is how we make our clothing, or this is how we weave our belts. You know, there's stories that go along with our artwork. You know, my teacher has taught me the art of weaving, and there's certain things that you do and there's certain things that you don't do. You know, an example I'll use weaving, since I'm more knowledgeable in that area, is that years before, men were the weavers in all the pueblos. Well, in today's society, so many things have changed now. So we gotten to the point where we have extended the invitation to women as well. And a lot of times the women find out that once they start weaving, it's not as easy as they thought it was. It's a lot of muscle. It's a lot of muscle. Back here, you'll see some of the work that, you know, I made, and we showed how the students how to make it. It's a lot of muscle, and a lot of them backed out, you know. But within it, there's stories that we tell about it, you know. When we have our belts in the loom, we also tell them, never abandon your loom in the car. Never abandon it elsewhere, you know. Always care for it. You know, your loom has a spirit, you know. We teach them how to, when they're angry, when they're upset, or, you know, not in good mind and sound, don't weave. Because whatever energy you have at that moment goes into the belt. And of course, when you want to give the belt to somebody, or someone's buying it from you, you don't want all that negative energy that goes into it to go with them. So we also teach traditional values on all of our artwork, and it was very important, with pandemic hitting us, as Cheryl Lee had mentioned, it didn't stop us here. We went full blast in force. Our director called us, us the instructors, and said, okay, we're going into Zoom. All of us instructors were probably in our 50s, 40s and 50s, and I'm in my 60s. We never heard of Zoom. So we had no idea what Zoom was about. So we had to learn and focus on this new method of how do we teach on Zoom, Eventually, after trial and error, we went over and over. We kind of established how to use it. I, for one, took it very seriously. I invested in an iPad of my own. I had one here. I had my laptop. I had like 2 laptops and 2 iPads. I had one focusing on my work. I had one focusing on me, so I would change the views when I was working on it, and it worked out. It was a good thing to learn, and eventually it evolved to the other instructors. So during pandemic, we continued to teach the classes. The only thing that we couldn't teach was jewelry. Our instructor would come to the studio here, and she would teach sewing. Everybody on class, they would watch us. They had their own sewing machine, and she would teach them the method of sewing Pueblo clothing. Same thing with moccasin. Our clay potters, what they did was they already had clay makes, and the students that were taking the class that were nearby, they would come by and they would pick up a bag of clay, here at the office, and they would take it home and they would watch the video, So we kept our arts going. And finally, this past spring, we had a gallery show. And this gallery show was dedicated to all our artists that have worked on items during pandemic, worked on it through video, and to show the people, this is what we did during pandemic. We really push our arts. We just received the Ruth Foundation fund not too long ago, and that's going to fund our classes for next year. We're always excited. We're always looking into different avenues. You see on the board, we have advanced jewelry, Pueblo moccasin, sewing, pottery, micaceous pottery, embroidery, beginner's jewelry, and weaving, which isn't on there. But we're always looking into other areas, other areas of what else can we teach. This coming summer, we have a new program that we're going to start, and it's going to be June and July, where we're going to invite families, where families can work together with their children, and work on projects, whether it's simple bead work or whether it's shawl making or whether it's making small clay animals. We're always out there for the community. In 2021, the Post Center staff, we put on what we call the Pathway Festival. It fell on the same weekend as our Santa Fe Indian Market, and we did this for the artists because Indian Market was coming and they were only limited a certain amount of artists at Indian Market. So there were 300-400 artists that were left out. So we expanded, we put out a notice, we put it on the Pathway Festival, Arts and Crafts Show. We had a tremendous turnout. It was so successful that we did it again this past year. This Pathway Show, we don't profit from it. Everything that we make basically goes for the entertainment, the fashion show that we have, the panels that we have, panel discussions we have, and it goes out to the artists. We're always here in New Mexico. The Post Center is always looking out, not only for the surrounding Pueblo communities, but for the community within itself. From May until October, we have the farmers market underneath the arbors that you see on the screen. We have the Hispanics come out. They bring their baked goods. They bring their produce. And it's a time to visit. It's a time to get to know each other. Some don't see each other for a while. And then we also put on a winter market, which we just got finished. So we're always promoting. We're always promoting. We try to work with our youth. I worked with them a couple of summers before pandemic. And what we did was we incorporated into their summer youth work. We had them come here to the Culture Center. We work with language. We did some basic arts and craft work that pertain to their pueblos, So we're always trying to expand out there and help the people, help the community. You know, our classes are, we have a summer and a spring and winter semester. They're 10 weeks long, you know, and they range anywhere from 3 to 5 hours each session, you know. The only qualification that requirement that you need to take a class is that you need to have a CIB. You know, you have to be a native. We have quite a bit of Pueblo people that take it. We have other tribes like Navajos. We had Ojibways come in. We had Kiowas come in. And when they come in, we stress to them that keep in mind, you know, this is Pueblo country. So you're going to learn how to make moccasins, but you're going to make them Pueblo style. You're going to learn how to make cloth clothing, but they're going to be Pueblo style, you know. So we're always trying to expand our knowledge, you know. We have a great museum, which we also promote tourism a lot. You know, we always have tourists stopping here. And I also work as a tour guide. Yesterday I did that. I was a tour guide for some people from Oregon, Idaho, and California. And what helps me relate to people is that I was a world traveler. I traveled to Europe, Scandinavia, Eastern Coast. I've been all over the world. So that helps me promote people. And I try to teach the new tour guides, you know, be open, read, make yourself familiar with what's around the world, whether you've been there or not, you know, because it's a great conversational piece as a tourism, you know. We purchase a lot of artwork from the natives around us to, you know, to help them supplement their income, you know, especially with our elders, you know. I'm one of the, I think there's like 3 of us who are elders here, you know, we're 60 and over, you know. So we're always willing to share our knowledge with the Pueblo, with the youth, you know. Right next door to me is the language program, you know. And the majority of the people here are Tewa people, you know, we all speak the language. A lot of the younger groups don't fully understand the language or would like to learn, you know. So as an elder, you know, I'm also here, you know, I try to teach them the basics of what, how to greet people, how to acknowledge people, how to be respectful. These are trades that have been taught to us, you know. And like we always tell our students, you know, especially in the clay department, you know, when you retrieve clay from Mother Earth, you know, you just don't go there and dig it out, you know. You go there, you pray, you ask permission, you know, may I take the clay from you so that I can make something beautiful for you, you know. So even that's included in our classes. You know, we teach them how to pray, we teach them how to be respectful, you know, and anything that we do, you know, we do it with respect, because that's what it's all about. Whatever you put into your work, it's going to come out the best thing, you know. And we always tell our students, let me finish with one more thing. When we finish our artwork, you know, we tell our students, you know, if you make a mistake, that's fine. Because we are told that our work is never perfect. We are not perfect. Only our Creator is perfect. So I hope that gave you an opening about our Pole Culture Center. And if you're around, come visit us.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, Chris. I think some people were interested in possibly taking some of your classes in the chat. So I
Good.
expect you'll probably hear from some other attendees. That was really informative. And it's also good to know how you're not only training people about intentionality in the work, but also welcoming for visitors and thinking about what they're bringing to the success of the Poe Center. And so thank you so much. AIANTA's art initiative is not only for programs for visual arts, but also to celebrate traditional and contemporary performing arts and music, dance, theater, comedy. There's so many different kinds of performances now. We're really excited to welcome Vicky Holt Takamini, and I hope I said your name correctly. She is executive director of the Pi Arts and Culture Center, and they're developing a new performing arts center there that is integral to program planning at their center, opening imminently to fulfill their vision to have sustainable Native Hawaiian art and cultural center in urban Honolulu and a permanent home for the foundation and their dance performances. So I look forward to hearing more about how that's going and some of the different initiatives that are going on. No, I saw Vicky here a little bit ago. Are you there, Vicky? I think you're muted. I don't know if there's a way that we can you hear me? Excuse me? Can you unmute her? Should we go on to the next?
So why don't we go on to the next and then we'll come back to Vicky.
That's what I was just thinking. We can go to the next slide and then we can come back.
It's a poll question.
Does your tribe have a % for the arts program or charge a lodger's tax that can be used to support public art or programs?
I'm going to end the poll now and share the results. So 20% of the attendees do have some sort of way of supporting their arts programs. That's wonderful. 60% do not. And I know that's one of the areas that we want to provide more information to the tribes about the programs that do have either a lodger's tax or the 1% for the arts. And then 20% do not. So I'm going to stop sharing that.
We go to the next one about powwows. So we're going to move on to the next slide and we can come back and see if Vicky is ready to join us. AIANTA's Art and Culture Initiative is to encourage tribal programs that support artists and provide venues for people to see and purchase their work. While it's well known in Indian country that powwows and tribal festivals are an ideal place to find top-notch traditional arts, there is much to learn from those tribes who've translated these events into exciting travel destinations, signature events, and a serious art market also for the tribal artists in their community to participate in, with art collectors among the cultural tourists who come to enjoy these events. And we are going to welcome Randy Altitan today, Public Affairs Manager, for Shoshone Bannock tribe, to talk about their wonderful Shoshone Bannock Indian Festival, which is held in Fort Hall, Idaho. Named among best powwows in the country, this is a powwow, but also a cultural celebration of food, dancing, art, and sport, and so many more things. So I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you're in transit, Randy L.
Yes, hello, and thank you for having me to talk about our largest powwow in the state of Idaho. We've actually been the #1 powwow rated in the state for having the largest outdoor powwow. We have 4 days of cultural activities. One of them is the exhilarating Indian relay race, which Fort Hall is known as the birthplace of the Indian relay race. But our powwow consists of not only the arts, but the food aspects of our cultural cuisine. We do host a free buffalo and salmon feast. We have 2-day rodeo. We have a 4-day powwow. We start on Thursday. honoring our veterans. We welcome all veterans into the circle. We honor all of them. And then earlier in the day, we have family time. We have a variety of different youth activities that we host. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is grand entry time. We have over 2,000 dancers from all over Indian country. We have the best drum groups come in from Canada and our local drums. We also have, we just added recently a golf tournament. We have a skate jam. We have a softball tournament. We have a hand game tournament. So again, we keep to the cultural aspect of how the powwow first started, which was just really a summer celebration. And it became this 4-day variety of festival activities. And again, we welcome everybody to the home of the Shoshone-Bannocks in southeastern Idaho. And the awesome thing is that we do not charge no admission to our powwows, to our hand games. The only admission that we do charge is the rodeo and the Indian relay races. We do have an arts and crafts. We have over 80 arts and craft vendors. We have over 50 food vendors. We have an art show that is showcased in our beautiful Chiefs Event Center. And we do welcome all artists from Indian country to participate and showcase their art. And they get to win prizes, and some of those prizes are sometimes cash. So again, you know, we have this 4-day event in Fort Hall, Idaho. This is the second weekend of August. And also during that time, we have our cultural pageant. I served as Miss Shoshone-Bannock from 2002 to 2003. Also served as our royalty coordinator of our cultural pageant. So we do have that pageant that is open to the public for everyone to view the cultural heritage of our Shoshone-Bannock people. So we have a lot of awesome things we offer to everybody. And we do have a, yeah, and we do have a website. So if anyone's interested, it's showbandfestival.com. We highlight all of our drums, our daily activities. It's all posted there, along with our social media accounts with the tribes.
Thank you so much for mentioning that. And we do have our tech support is putting any and all websites, and for more information kinds of things you can find in the chat. So that's something I just wanted to point out for those of you who are following along, if there's other resources that are here. And I think it's really wonderful that it's not just, I think it's really something that's exciting for not only for tribal visitors, but also as a cultural destination for people who coming from outside of the tribe
Yes.
to learn more about the tribe, but also to have an opportunity to take something home to remember their experience and so on. So with all the artists and the food there, it's a wonderful festival.
Thank you.
Are you still with us, Vicki? Thought I saw her name. I know you're.
Yes, I'm still
Vicki?
here. Hello,
Okay, can you
sorry.
unmute yourself? Thank you so much. for
I'm
being
trying
here.
to. I'm having a little technical difficulty here. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. One of the things I started to introduce you a little bit earlier, but if you can even tell us a little bit about the development of the Performing Arts Center. We're really excited to hear about how, in addition to celebrating visual arts and culture, that your new culture center is incorporating performing arts, and how developing those kinds of stages is really going to help with cultural preservation and also as a destination for cultural tourists.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. My PowerPoint and my I'm just going to have to talk to you.
That's
I'm
fine.
hoping that I could open this up in a minute, but it's not working for me. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this. I am Vicky Holt Takamine. I'm the Kumuhula of Pua Ali'ilima and the Executive Director of Pa'i Foundation. I have been teaching hula for 45 years now, and about 20 years or so, 21 years, I started a nonprofit called Pa'i Foundation. Pa'i is the acronym for my halal name, my School of Hawaiian Dance, Pua Ali'ilima. So I took those first initials, and we created a nonprofit organization. The organization was started not to serve the needs of my halal or my School of Hawaiian Dance, but to serve the larger needs of our Native Hawaiian artists and the cultural practitioners in Hawaii. We found that our state had purchased, built a building, the Convention Center for Tourism. And as a part of that, they purchased almost $2 million of artwork, but not one Native Hawaiian was commissioned for artwork in that building. And so I took on the challenge of trying to force the state to realize that they were negligent in supporting Native Hawaiian artists in our own ancestral homeland, which is not a unique story to our Native peoples here, and started Pa'i Foundation. One of the things that we did was also to create MAMO, which is Maoli Arts Month, and it's turned into Maoli Arts Movement, which is Maoli meaning Native and Arts Movement to celebrate and showcase Native Hawaiian art and artists. That program then, I think one of the things that we wanted to do was create a home for ourselves. We were teaching hula in a variety of spaces that started in my home and then ended up in school cafeterias. And we found, we received a grant to open up a space in Kaka'ako, a small 4,000 square foot space. But in the process, we met ArtSpace, which is the largest nonprofit developer for artist spaces in the nation. And they create not just affordable housing for artists, but also creative spaces for artists. So I invited them to Hawaii to explore the idea of opening up a space and a affordable housing project that would create a permanent space for me and my halal and our nonprofit. It's going to be built, and it opened just before COVID. And it houses 84 families that are artists. We were supposed to have started our tenant improvements. It hasn't started yet. It will be started, I hope, by the end of this year. That will create 4,000 square feet plus a 1,000 square foot mezzanine. It includes a 3,000 square foot dance performing arts studio, as well as a Pa'i, I'm calling it an arts cafe. Initially, it was supposed to be a gallery, but I thought, we need a little kitchen to serve food, to host artists, to host events. And so it's evolved into a arts cafe and a dance studio, and the mezzanine, 1,000 square foot, would be a training center for artists to host meetings and gatherings and do much of the trainings that we need for our artists to create individual and entrepreneurship for artists. So that we hope will be opening, starting tenant improvements by January and be ready to open 6 months. But we think we're going to do a grand opening in October.
That's really exciting.
So I was hoping to get you some images of that, and I don't know where it is on my laptop. I'm so sorry. It's like it has been.
Oh, okay.
It's been a crazy morning for me.
We're so glad you could join us, and I think it's really exciting for us to be able to see the breadth of what's going on in Indian country from Hawaii to Wyoming and Wisconsin and beyond. And,
Yeah, and Can I just share for our artists that I would love to have them reach out to me? We do have a small artist exchange program that we'd love to invite individual artists to come over. We have funding for about 3 a year, but I would love to host and be able to exchange information with some of the artists in your region to be able to join us here in Hawaii. So that would be
That's an exciting opportunity.
Yeah.
Definitely, I will email you after this meeting and get your information so that we can share it with our constituent audiences of artists nationwide.
Thank you.
Cheryl, did you have a quick question?
Yeah, so Vicky, is that an invitation to like an artist residency program in Hawaii?
Yes, so we'd like to do an artist exchange for about a week here in Hawaii and then send an artist up there wherever you are. So it means, we can host an artist, but yeah.
Yeah, why don't you email me and we can talk a little bit more about that?
Okay.
That sounds great.
Okay.
And I love being able to be the bridge to help make some of those connections happen and really enrich them. Our next couple of presenters were not able to make it because of illness, but I did wanted to highlight some of the new initiatives that are going on. Was there another poll question, or we already did that one? We already did that one, didn't we?
Yes.
So, okay, very good. Thank you, Gail. So studio tours usually comprise of short regional driving tours, not so much hiking tours, but they feature locations where local artists and makers will have their arts on display and available for purchase. Part of AIANTA's goal is to help other Native American communities learn more about how to make these events work at home. Several tribal communities have launched some successful models which attract visitors from far and wide, showcasing artists in their communities and having a positive economic impact on their community, not only because of the art purchases themselves, but also the tourists who come for the weekend and spend time in the region at local tribal run restaurants, shops, and lodging. So we had hoped to feature Hopi Arts Trail, which has had a really long and successful career, if you will, at successful arts trail, and they keep on adding new artists. And one of the things that has really helped them to flourish is that they've marketed it with the state, as you've done some of the stuff with it in collaboration with the state, Cheryl, up in Wisconsin. And it's really become a destination, if you will, and a signature event, which is something that arts trails are really good at. Even if you don't have a small or a central gallery and so on, you can market an arts trail of visiting different kinds of art studios, can be set up sometimes outside, even if someone's studio generally is in their garage. You can set up outside to host not so much buses, but individual people who can pick up a trail map and visit the different studios. So it's a really exciting model of how to elevate artists in your community and help familiarize people with your tribal heritage and culture. So I think it's definitely it's an ideal way to draw repeating visitors as well to a destination. You had a couple questions, Vicky. You're muted. Vicky, you're muted.
Of course I am. Of course I am. Okay, it's early over here, yeah, in the morning. Yes.
Sure.
But I think I have just a few visuals that I might want to share if you have time.
I haven't been following the clock. Are we good, ladies, on time? Can we show a couple of pictures from Hawaii?
It's fine if we don't.
Yeah, we have time. Go ahead and show those, and then we'll move on to we'll move on to you, Debbie, next.
Oh, well, you can go to Debbie, and then if you have time, we can come back to this.
Okay, that'll be
Let's do
fine.
let's do that first.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm glad you got everything up. That's terrific.
It's funny.
One of the things we're really excited about is, in addition to our Native Arts and Culture Initiative, we've also been developing new partnerships with national parks, even as they are adding in more and more interpretation, focusing on the native lands on which many of them are built. AIANTA has worked with national parks on several projects, including the repurposing of the Desert View Watchtower at the Grand Canyon, identifying tribal arts and tourism programs along the Lewis and Clark, and the Juan Bautista de Anza Trail, which is in California. We've also conducted webinars on programs like Native America Speaks at Glacier National Park, and we're really excited to hopefully continue that conversation. And we have a presenter here today who is with the National Park at Glacier, who's going to address a little bit about how that program evolved and how it has brought Native voices and representation into the parks. Are you with us, Debbie?
I am.
Great.
Hopefully everybody can see and hear me. Thanks so much for including us in this really incredible webinar. I've been jotting down notes from all the presenters so far of things that you've inspired me to take a look at and try to find out more about. So one of our sort of signature programs that we offer at Glacier is called our Native America Speaks program. It's something that we're all really proud of because it's just an incredible program and has grown so much over the years. The program actually started in 1982, so we just celebrated our 40th anniversary of the program and wrapped up our 41st season of the program. And just a little background, since many of you may not be super familiar with what it is. So we offer a whole range of different types of programs, evening programs, cultural programs. We added in some guided hikes. We have an artist in residence component that we've added in. We have presenters that talk at our astronomy programs about star stories. So a whole wide range of programs that really run the gamut of kind of more on the end of that cultural education that I heard mentioned earlier. So we're talking about language and culture and history, but also a number of our presenters that share about music and singing and storytelling and dancing and various art, different types of art. And we've really grown the program over the past 40 years, starting with just a handful of presenters and now having some years having 30 plus different presenters that are part of the program. Just this past year, we had about 115 different programs that we offered over the summer months. Those programs often are taking place inside of the park, but one of the ways that we've expanded is also to grow the program into the community as well. Because really the goal of the whole program is to provide a venue for our local tribal communities to share their story and be able to interact with our visitors. And it's just a really wonderful learning opportunity for our now we're getting somewhere around 3 million visitors that come to Glacier every summer. Just this past season, we had about a little over 6,000 people that came out to Native America Speaks program. So lots of people are coming out. We get so much great feedback about the program. And we also, really are trying to include the program in the community, because this is also a great opportunity for community members to come out and continue to share and really opening up that conversation. So we really are always looking for ideas from other places doing similar programs or other types of programs of how we can continue to grow and work with our community to be able to add in new things. And like I said, just in the past couple of years, we've added in some guided walks. We've added in this artist in residence component where we had 3 different artists spend a week at our artist in residence cabin in the park, and they were able to do their artwork and then share that with visitors. And we kind of have the program offered quite frequently and in a lot of different venues. So most people that are visiting the park or our neighbors as well are able to get to one of the programs or many of the programs throughout the season. We pretty much have one every day of the week. And it's been a really great way to direct some of the tourism that we're already seeing, to direct that toward our great presenters. One sort of additional partnership that we have is not only are we partnering with our local communities to have the presenters come in, but we also partner with our philanthropic organization that works with the park, the Glacier National Park Conservancy. And we have a huge grant that we manage through the Conservancy. And so we do our best to, we always pay all of our presenters, but to make sure that we're really supporting them through paying them for their time as well. And then often some of our presenters will also bring items that they might share at the program, that also if visitors are interested in purchasing those specific items, or sharing about their businesses that they might run to direct people to be able to find them outside of the park or in the community. So yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit about that program. I don't know if this link ended up in the chat, but I can also share the link to we have our schedule still up from this past year, because we don't have our 2023 schedule available yet. We're just starting to get working on that. But we've got a bunch of things on our website. We have some examples of programs that we filmed, and we have on there a little blurb about the program, and are, like I said, looking forward to continuing to expand into the future with other different components, depending on who's interested in being part of the program. But it's been really cool to hear from additional people that have contacted me to say, I'd love to be part of the program too. I mostly would be focused on drumming, or I do this particular type of art and I'd really be interested in being a presenter, or, I have a business in the community and I'd love to share about the storytelling that I do as part of that business. So it's been great to see all the people from the community coming out, and just it's very well supported by everyone involved. And yeah, it's a favorite every summer. We were really sad during 2020 when we had to cancel all of our programs for that season. So it's been delightful to be back on track and have so many programs that we're offering again.
That sounds really wonderful. And at some point in the future, AIANTA may tap you to find out who some of those new artists are. So as we add to our rosters and of artists and people that we'd like to share information with and resources with, because you're there on the ground in different places. So that's, I think, an important network for us to develop. So thank you so much for joining us. Yeah.
Oh, and I was just going to say, I guess one thing that I didn't mention is, so the majority of our presenters are Upskapi Pekani, so Blackfeet, also Kalispel, Salish, and Kootenai. But we have had presenters that represented other tribes as well. So, mostly we try to focus on having a tie to Glacier, because the presentations are at Glacier, but we're pretty open to exploring new avenues as well, if there's other folks that might be interested. So if you know of people in the Montana area or others that might be interested in something like this, definitely feel free to reach out.
That sounds terrific. Thank you so much. And we are trying to keep up and putting all the links and so on in chat so that people can communicate with one another. Our last slide, and then we can go back with you, Vicki. Our last slide, I wanted to make mention of bookstores, galleries, and fashion studios, restaurants are also an important part of the Native American economy, the Native art economy, and recognizing businesses in reservation communities and in nearby cities and towns is vital for the Native art market to thrive. This might include bookstores like the renowned Ojibwe author Louisa Erdrich's Birch Bark Books and Native Arts. In Minneapolis, there's cafes such as the Ohlone Cafe in Berkeley, which not only serves elegant and healthy traditional foods, but also serves as a space for local artists, and formal galleries, which also especially elevate Native arts into the realm of fine arts, building visibility and understanding for the non-Native community. We will not be able to have Dave Himmelberg was going to join us here from New York. He has the K Art Gallery, which is a really remarkable contemporary commercial gallery. He wasn't well, but I have been in touch with him and his management, and His great uncle was president of Seneca Nation of Indians in the 1950s, and his mother was an art teacher and a founding teacher at Head Start in Seneca Territory. And his brother was a contemporary artist and worked for Seneca Nation for many years. And Dave worked away from his community and then returned again to serve in various capacities, and has been a leader in Native economic and community development for decades. What's remarkable about the K Art Gallery is it focuses on contemporary Native American art. They have been doing placement with museums as well as private collections and institutions. And so they're getting the names of some more avant-garde artists who are maybe working with traditional materials, but doing really innovative work and installations. And the general collector doesn't always know what to make of some of this work, but this work is really getting a lot more recognition. Recently, they were recognized as one of the top 10 booths at Art Miami Basel and Armory shows, which are international in scope. And so there's a lot of international art collectors and visitors who are getting their eyes on some really cutting edge Native American artwork. And galleries like this are really doing a lot to instill faith in collectors that their acquisitions will acquire value over time, and educating people about contemporary Native American communities as well, that are not just fixed in the past, that they're not historical, that people are still here today and have, as you can see, even in this installation, have a lot to say. There's some really beautiful art, and I encourage you to visit his website and wish him the best in his in restoration of health. I think we have a little bit of time before we finish up and talking a little bit about AIANTA. Do you want to take a look at Vicky? Are your slides ready?
I think so. Okay, let me see if I can share screen. Are you able to see that?
Let me see. I don't know if I have to, if you're, are we on? Okay. We're just now getting to the sharing the screen.
Share.
Great.
It says my screen sharing is paused.
Is paused.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Well,
Thank you, everybody, for enduring our
yes.
technical changes here.
I'm not sure. I can, okay, I'll try again. Share screen. How's that? I don't understand why it says it's paused.
Click on your computer screen that you wish to share, because it
Yeah.
does show that you have screen sharing abilities.
Yeah, and it won't let me resume the sharing. You know, stop. Zoom share. I'm gonna have to take a class in technology.
I'll tell you what, Vicky, if you
Yeah.
send us some of those images, I would be happy to share them with all of our participants when we send out the link to this meeting, and I can share those at that time.
Sure, I think that'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much for
patience.
trying. I know that they would be wonderful, and all of us in the freezing north would probably really enjoy looking at pictures from Hawaii whenever they arrive.
Yes, and you can come in January when it's nice and still beautiful weather here.
I'm sure. So thank you very much. We're going to, we wanted to talk a little bit about our organization and what we already have as resources and some of the kinds of things that we hope to develop as we start working more in our arts and culture initiative in the next couple of years. And I want to make sure I'm not missing the slides. Gail, do you have, did you want me to talk about Native America.travel or our tourism conference?
why don't we talk about nativeamerica.travel? For those of you that don't know, nativeamerica.travel is AIANTA's destination website. We launched it a couple of years back, and we've been gathering profiles of tribes as well as listing destinations and attractions. So everything from hotels to teepee stays, as well as events like art markets, powwows, museums, anything that's out there that's a destination for tourists. We also get a number of tour operators that follow our site and have booked tours to some of our with some of our tour operators. So one of the things that Melanie will be working on is finding arts attractions that she can add to the website. And we also have an opportunity for artists to be a part of it. If they have a studio that they can visit, that a visitor can is welcome to, we can add artists into the website. So we'd like to start with another poll question to find out how many of you are actually listed on nativeamerica.travel. And for those of you that aren't, we would love to work with you to get you added. Our staff will help build your listing for you. If you send us the just some images and a short description, we have a content developer who will work with you to build your listing. Okay, I'll give it just a couple more minutes. All right. Well, 14% of you have been listed on nativeamerica.travel. 80% have not. So we have a lot of work to do. If you contact Melanie, she will be happy to help you get your listing up on our website. So Melanie, if you could put your email address into the chat.
Will do. Someone was just saying, I didn't realize that we weren't up there. And I like, we will be contacting you soon because I've looked at your website and it's marvelous. So I am putting that right now into the chat. And I look forward to hearing from people. Native America Travel is growing, and I think as more and more people discover it, it's a really exciting way and has enormous potential for people, whether they are tour operators coming from Japan or whether they're individuals like my parents who are cultural travelers wanting to build an itinerary to be able to find more about your destination. And it's all free and we can help you make it look beautiful. So we're really excited about that. We wanted to highlight some of the other resources that we're having. At our annual conference, we have had in the past a Business of Art workshop. And continuing that, we're also sort of developing a series on the businesses of art, if you will, on our webinar series. And we are adding at least quarterly. We are going to be continuing in 2023 to host a really rigorous schedule of exciting visits to virtual studios or talks with Indian Arts and Crafts Board to learn more about how they can support artists in your community or learn about some different models that have been successful. So far, we hosted one on the evolution of a Native Arts Collective, which I actually encourage you. All of our webinars are open to the public, and all of your friends and colleagues can join. But also you can watch recordings that are hosted on our website. So please definitely check out our webpage. As you can see here, the facing page, you can check out and learn more about arts collectives, which are, for example, a really ideal way of places where people might not have a lot of studios that are visitable, but where artists can work together collaboratively to make a gallery that can year-round share their artwork. And we also hosted a webinar about collaboration with the national parks that we just heard about from Debbie. And so this is a really good model that can easily be replicated in a lot of different locations. And so we're really excited to be continuing the webinar series, which is especially geared to artists as well as tribal communities that want to learn more about how to support the artists in their communities. Currently, we also have a Shop Native page. If you don't know about that, we can also get you hooked up, you and the artists in your communities. We have in the past, of course, we've all learned how to work with Zoom, as Chris said. We struggled at the beginning, and then we hit the gas full speed ahead. Shop Native is a really wonderful online platform, also found on our website, where we are adding tribal artists as well as tribal museums and cultural centers free of charge. The artists, we are asking them to join AIANTA and then list, and we hope to be able to extend this beyond the holidays, because of course we want people to shop Native year-round. There's so many wonderful things here, and as I've been adding some of the featured artists here, it's really hard not to get carried away. It would be wonderful if I had infinite resources and could shop at all of these places. Some of the really most remarkable and unique gifts that you can find anywhere on the internet, and really the best of what we represent. In this next slide, we wanted to talk a little bit about what we have to offer at our annual conference. The annual American Indian Tourism Conference is something that we host annually in different venues each fall season, and it's a gathering of tribal enterprises and organizations who seek to learn more about how to grow their cultural tourism resources. And I know many of you who are attending here today have been at our conferences, but some who may not have. We encourage you to join us. We have always included artisans and performers at our American Indian Tourism Conferences. In the last couple of years, included the Business of Art seminar or workshop, as I mentioned. And this year, AIANTA has been awarded a grant to support these efforts and expand our arts and culture programs, with the goal to promote the Native arts industry to the media and domestic and international visitors market. Our Native arts and cultural program will be publishing articles and shareable resources on AIANTA's website to promote Native American arts and cultural offerings. And as AIANTA's Native Arts and Cultural Coordinator, I will work to grow partnerships with Native artists in regional museums. I'm looking forward to putting together more of those rosters, also working with galleries and cultural centers to raise visibility and access for cultural tribal resources. It's a very exciting time to join AIANTA as we all work to empower Native American artists and develop their markets and elevate awareness of the role that Native arts play in cultural tourism, as well as in heritage preservation. And we wanted to share some of AIANTA's resources. So we've mentioned nativeamerica.travel, the webinar series, our Shop Native page. We just recently had an article on holiday markets and featured about 20 markets from around the country. And hopefully some of you have seen some bounce from that. I know some of the markets are still going on, and we've actually continued to add to that list. And also with our conference, focusing on the Business of Art seminar market, we've also hosted artist demonstrators and performers there. And in the next year, We also brought in a professional photographer to talk to artists about how to put together their portfolio and create headshots so that they could enter competitions and calls when there's calls for artists, so that they're ready to professionally get their work out there. And there's also, I just got a note to remind me, Shop Native is also available for those who have native foods to share that might be for sale. We also have a new agritourism initiative in addition to our arts and cultural programs, and that's definitely something to inquire about as well. So we have our last poll questions. We would like you to choose your top 3 needs. And hopefully we'll be able to get a ranking from this. We have various needs in different parts of the country. So please take a good look at these. Developing a business plan, finding funding for your business, developing an artist packet, such as a biography or artist statement and photography, as I mentioned, marketing, sales and pricing of native arts, and finding and conducting online sales. There's lots of different topics. These are just some that we thought we might be able to talk about in the coming years. Cheryl, you had your hand raised?
Yeah, I think it might be good to, like a subtitle under developing a business plan, is also how artists can prepare their tax reports, or how to not prepare the reports, but what kind of information, what kind of records do they need to save for their tax filings?
Please add any other topics to the chat and
Oh,
we'll
okay.
add them on. That's a great idea.
And if that's something that you have expertise in, maybe we'll tap you for a future webinar.
Oh, no, I don't have any expertise in that, but I do know that artists need the help with
Yeah.
keeping their receipts and files in order for their tax statements at the end of the year.
Thanks for your comment. Is everybody about set? Okay.
Okay, for some reason it's not showing up on the screen, but I can tell you the results. 63% felt that finding funding for your business was one of the most important. 50% said developing a website. 38% said developing an artist packet with bio, artist statements, and photos. 38% said marketing. 25% said developing a business plan. 25% said finding and conducting online sales. And 25% said developing cultural presentations.
Gail, we just had a question whether we can type the results into the chat, and I am wondering, can I just hit the share results? Will that turn up? Did it work then?
Did it share? No, for some reason.
How about
it's not
now?
sharing.
Can you see it now?
No.
I can see it, but I have to scroll down on it to see the entire list. So, and let me see if I can enlarge I can enlarge the poll on my screen. And then I'm gonna try to do a screenshot of that so I can keep a copy. which I'm able to do like right now.
I think we
Everybody-
got a picture of it, and so we can send the results out also when we send out the final recording.
Okay,
to
I'll do it
participants.
in here in a couple of seconds for you. What would you like this poll? Oh, no, I'm just gonna say poll screenshot and you'll know what it is when you open it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
All right.
Are we ready to go to the next slide, Gail? So we don't want to overwhelm you, but we do want to leave you with some resources for developing your arts programs. One of the things that we have a lot of resources that are available and downloadable on our website. And we want to encourage you to explore others. And we can help direct you and help you find those resources. We have developed a planner for cultural heritage tourism for Indigenous tourism professionals, which is incredibly comprehensive and a wonderful guide as you are going through and wanting to check off some of the boxes. There's also a report on Native arts and culture, resilience, reclamation, and relevance, which we've mentioned before. There are a number of other foundations, the Native Arts and Cultures Foundations and First Americans Foundation, that have done wonderful studies on Native arts and their impact. Establishing creative economy as an economic engine in Native communities, which we cited earlier, and how to do creative placemaking as well. So there's some really great resources that are out there. We don't have to do everything alone. There's all of your links, and all of the slides here will be shared with all of those who are participating with us today. And when you signed up with your email in the registration. So we have ways to find you. And if you don't hear from us, we're looking, by the time we get everything ready, I'm thinking it'll be a great Christmas present for you to open and have all of those resources for you. We would definitely like to thank the National Endowment for the Arts for supporting this program. Did you have anything else to add, Gail?
No, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today, especially the presenters who shared their stories. We were only able to touch on a few of the arts programs in Indian country. There's so much more that is going on. And one of the things that we hope our arts and culture program will do is document many of these, add them to nativeamerica.travel, produce some articles highlighting different programs, and to build our network. And I think the sharing of the residency program with Pi Foundation is a wonderful start of that kind of network. So we're so excited to see that resulting from this session. We're over our hour and a half, but if anyone wants to make any final statements, please just unmute yourself and make any comments you like.
Thank you, Heather, for joining us.
I have one more thing I wanted to add on to my presentation is that during this last ATOM conference that was held in October, we had received an award for being one of the top 10 model culture centers across the nation. So we're very proud of that award here at the Post Center, you know. And like my director had said, it takes the whole staff. It's just not one person. And that's one thing I have to really brag about, is that we have a wonderful family staff here of young, old, middle age, and we all work together when it comes to pathway, or when it comes together as a market, or anything that we plan, trunk or treat, any event that we have, we all work together as one. And I think that's what makes us successful. Thank you.
Congratulations. And then Vicki, I'd like to just mention something about your program, and that's that you get the $1 million grant from the Ford Foundation. And when you told us about what it took to get that, I just have to admire your perseverance and persistence.
Yes, that's truly exciting. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Well, thank you all for joining us. We look forward to the coming year. Oh, Vicki, you're unmuted.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's tenacity and just keep asking. Don't stop asking. If you don't ask, you don't get.
That's a good place to end that here. I think it's really inspiring for all of us to hear about what's going on in different parts of the country, in different cultural centers. And as Gail said, there's so many things that are going on around the country. And Native arts and culture is really thriving, and so many new initiatives everywhere. I'll be working hard to keep up and looking forward to helping advance your resources as well, to get more visitors and more resources to all the artists among us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye, everybody.